Tony Livesey
on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Well, there we go. We're into the final hour of the show. Just a reminder, any developments from the White House in Iran or anywhere in the world, let's be honest, we'll bring you that breaking news over the next hour, and then Dotton's on a watching brief as well from 1 o'clock. So you won't miss a thing. Keep it tuned here to 5 Live. But right now it is time for the musicologist. It's that time of the week when we dig deep into what makes music great. It could be music theory or rhythm, or, as we did one week, just a specific music studio. Tonight, we are officially talking nonsense, particularly nonsense lyrics. Who better to teach us a bit of nonsense than Dr. Beat, better known to his students as Professor Joe Bennett from the Berklee College of Music in Boston. Joe, good evening. Good evening and welcome.
Hey there, thank you, Tony. Good to be here.
We did touch on this, the other side of the news, Joe. Let's just, before we get to the first play of the quiz, nonsense music then, what does its role play? How's it even, what are its origins?
Well, it's one of the tools in the box for songwriters. The technical term for it in linguistics is glossolalia. So it's essentially made up words that don't come from any existing language. And songwriters have used it throughout the years, only very occasionally. But thankfully for our time tunnel concept, the occasions have been spread down the decades in a really interesting way.
Is it a song full of nonsense lyrics, or is it just a word within that song?
So for all of the main section of the show tonight, we've gone with songs as much as possible that are nonsense, made up words, made up language all the way through.
All right.
For the quiz, we've simply gone with songs with stupid titles.
Okay, all right, oh good. Somewhat people are now challenging me and Bethan to read things out. And Gareth has sent this in. Now I remember this song from when I was young, Quantum Jump and Lone Ranger, and it begins with someone just says Tamaka Wakadaki Yanatiki Yoko Itama Wama Pukamaki Horo. So that would count, Joe.
Yeah, it very much sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. This bears no relation to how the song starts, but it sounded roughly like it. Right, okay, well, we'll get into nonsense songs in a second. Right, Bethan, you're reading every other one out now, okay?
Okay.
Let's kick off the quiz. Explain what we've got to try and do in the quiz, Joe.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at songs old and new, as ever. There are 6 questions. You get a point, as ever, for artist and for song. And I'm going to tell you the year of release and play them backwards. Right. Our earliest one that we previewed just before the hour there is from 1964. And our most recent one is from 2018. So something for all ages there.
If anybody gets the first one wrong, they need to hang their heads in shame, is all I will say.
I agree with that. Yeah, I'll endorse that.
Right, let's go for it then, Joe. Take it away. Okay,
so name the song and name the artist. Question 1 came out in 1964. Now, for question 2, I bet everyone will get the vocalist because this guy has a really distinctive voice, especially when I tell you it was in 1974. Not one of his best-known tracks, but can you name the song? Fast forward now to the 90s. In fact, that one was short. I'm going to give you that one again. It's a tricky one. Here it is again. So now in the 90s, this is 1997, and this band came up with this nonsense title. For number 4, this is a song, sort of pop meets hip-hop from 2006. For number 5, this is an artist who is, should we say, geographically distant from the UK. And this song came out in 2016. Listen out for the bass line. And finally, for number 6, this techno banger came out in 2018. So 6 songs, a point for the song, a point for the artist.
Right, after the first easy one, I've collapsed in a heap there.
I think I got 2.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought I saw a little light bulb going off.
Oh, on my
what, does that
confused
include the
face.
easy one at the start?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, look, somebody, probably Neil in Chester, Joe, will win it and get all of them. Let's see if anyone else can challenge as well. If you're new to the slot, we remind you of the quiz a little bit later on. So there's no need to enter now if you don't want. But Beth, on what are the numbers if people want to get an early one in?
Yeah, WhatsApp us 08085 909 693 or text us 85058.
Okay. Right, let's begin with our nonsense tunes. The first one, so many people have requested this tonight. It's great to hear. I was listening to their show only on the radio today. It's always on a Tuesday afternoon. It's actually, it's on my way to work as well on a Tuesday night. Let's have a listen to the Ying Tong song by the Goons.
There's a song that I recall my mother sang to me. She sang it as she tucked me in when I was 93.
Who was that from?
Ying tong, 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 ying tong.
Keep that up, keep up.
Keep up, lad.
Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in my Poland.
Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying like Poland.
My Poland.
Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying like Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying like
Oh,
Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying like Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying like ying like
The Goons, particularly Blue Bottle there, Peter Sellers with Ying Tong Yiddle Po, and I used to play that all the time when I was young, Joe. And it gets even funnier because they start singing it, disappearing into the distance, then they run back again, then they fall off a cliff. I mean, it's a fantastic tune.
Well, yeah, and it's there's so much to love about the Goons. You know, here we are, literally 70 years after that record came out. Here we are, actually laughing at it down the years. It's just the silliness. I've got little tears streaming down my face here on the video feed, just chuckling at the silly voices and the sort of commitment that they do to it. So, for those who don't know the history of the Goons, maybe a few younger listeners, so the Goons show is a British radio program. It was on the BBC Home Service, as it was called then. 1951 through 60, and the main writer was Spike Milligan, who also wrote the Ying Tong song, and the other cast members, Harry Seacombe, who sung the intro there and most of the song, Peter Sellers, and for 2 series, Michael Bentine. So the song Ying Tong, people often misremember it as Ying Tong Tiddle Po or Ying Tong Iddle Po. I think it's Ying Tong Diddle Po that they actually sing. And it's said to be the origin of the title actually has a real world origin. It's not just made up nonsense. It comes from Seacombe mispronouncing the name of Milligan's wartime friend and jazz musician who was called Henry Edgington. And Seacombe apparently repeatedly called him Edgerton, and Milligan replied, "It's Edgington, Ington, Ington, Yington, Yingtang." And then that morphed into the idea for the title. So the story goes. One of the other stories about the song, I hope this one is true as a guitar player who teaches a lot of guitar players, he claimed he wrote the song as a bet with his brother to see if he could have a hit with only 2 chords. Oh. So guitar fans, you can play it with a G chord and a D7. It's just got 2 main chords.
And how does so Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong? What are the guitar? They're just plucking away, are they, on the guitar? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So okay, grabs a guitar.
Oh yeah, let's have a bit of live Ying Tong.
Yep. So if we're playing it in G, it'd be electric guitar, which would really needs an acoustic, but it's G, 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 D7, 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 and then back to the G. 2 chords and the truth, that's all they have.
So the Goons, right? I love it. My wife hates it, and it's one of those instinctive things, isn't it? The Goons, you either get it or you don't. Is it the same with nonsense songs? Do you think the people who would just go, I need to be able to follow a narrative here. What's this all about?
Well, I think some people really are very lyric focused, and a lot of pop fans will just say, I don't listen to lyrics at all. I just like the overall vibe of the track. And, we've started there with the Goons, so obviously that's using nonsense words to be silly and for comedy effect. But that's not the only use of nonsense lyrics, as we shall see shortly.
All right. Okay. Well, look, so we start with the Goons. That got to number 3 in the singles charts in 1956 and number 9 when it was reissued in 1973.
Wow.
Time to get it back out again, I think.
Christmas number 1.
Honestly, they are just as funny. It's nearly 70 years since the Goon Show began, and they're just as funny. I promise you, Radio 4 Extra. Right, next up then, Joe. Oh no, for goodness sake, I thought it was that weird one. We'll get to that in a minute. Next up, a song originally by the Italian composer Piero Umiliani, but we know it differently.
Mah Na Mah Nah. 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 Mah Na Mah Nah.
I mean, that's just funny. The fact that there's a human doing that, making all that, it's just funny. And I mean, Joe, tell us about it. But I've Googled it. I'm trying to identify the Muppet who sings it.
Well, do you know what his name is?
Well, go on.
The Muppet is called Mah Na Mah Nah.
Yeah, Mah Na Mah Nah.
That's him.
I thought he was one of the really famous Muppets, but I've never heard of Mah Na Mah Nah.
He's a one-hit wonder, Mah Na Mah Nah. He's only known for that song.
Now, tell us about the tune, because it says here this song has a bit of a saucy past.
Well, yes, I suppose you could describe it like that. So it originally appeared in a movie soundtrack in 1968. The composer, as you said there, Tony, is Piero Umiliani. And the original, it was an Italian film, quasi-documentary called Sweden, Heaven and Hell, which came out in 1968. And it was sort of an exploitation, quasi-documentary about alleged wild sexual activity and other behavior in Sweden. And the song that features that sound, the song is featured as the soundtrack in a scene where the camera basically pans across a sauna of lots of scantily clad women, and then that music plays in the background.
Well, that's counterintuitive, isn't it? How's that erotic? What were
they
doing?
Don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the director was trying to get across.
I now understand all the weird noises he was making, though.
But then the Muppets covered it.
Yeah.
For the curious, you can find it online. It's not
for
really
goodness
all
sake,
that.
now we're all Googling it. What's it called?
So it's called Sweden, Heaven and Hell. Terrible movie, great song. And that was as late as 1968. Now, famously, it was Lou Grade that brought the Muppets to the UK.
Yes.
So, they're almost a British invention, despite their American origins. To our theme, the lyrics contain no actual words. The only words are ma, na, and do in the entire track. What I personally love about it is Mah Na Mah Nah, he loses his thread in the verses every time. and then the band just carries on waiting for him.
That's
and
it.
he just says, oh yeah, it's like he's forgetting the verse, forgetting the words.
It's like and he's distracted. He's like,
and the drummer's just got this tight session drummer hi-hat and rim shot, and it just carries on. The session band carries on, and then it goes quiet, and then and he picks it up again.
He's probably thinking, what are they doing in that sauna over there? Oh, I better turn away.
Well, but there's so much to research about this, and we did the research as we always do as good musicologists. And for those who are interested, you'll find it on my Instagram in the Reels area. It's under Joe Bennett Musicology, and we've got bits of the score, and we've got a picture of Mah Na Mah Nah and a bit about the movie. But it's also got some sounds like quotes, appropriately enough for this show. So there's a melodic quotation of Hugo Alfvén's first Swedish Rhapsody, and the Italian tune Santa Lucia, and the Muppets version includes a little bit of Lullaby of Birdland, which is a jazz standard. The melody, I'm sure everyone will know, is do 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 do, and Mah Na Mah Nah has a go at that, and then he runs out of steam, and then he goes pause, wait for the drums. Mah Na Mah Nah. He just goes back into it.
This text is I thought Animal, the drummer, sang Mah Na Mah Nah, and that's what a lot of people would have thought over the years. But there we go. Yeah, that's what I was laughing about when I was listening. I've listened. This is what you do, Joe. I've heard that song all my life, but I've listened to it tonight with fresh ears, and it's very, very funny.
It really is, and it appeared on the original Muppet Show and then in several other versions. But what I love about the Muppets, all of the music, is that it's crack session musicians of the time. Just amazing players, absolutely disciplined. Yeah. And then and the band, the characters of the band, they're sort of old school musos, just cynically doing the job and getting paid.
Yeah. Trilby and a fag on while they're just waiting for the singer to get back with the vibe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Before the end of the show, I'm going to play that again. I'm going to play that right at the end of the show. I love it. And Benny Hill used it as well, Joe.
Yes, it was actually part of a background. Obviously, he's mainly known for Yakety Sax was the name. Yakety Axe was the Chet Atkin version, and that was his famous chasing people around the park music, which hasn't dated very well since back in the day, unlike the Goons. But it was part of his slapstick sketches background, and became a bit of a tradition. So it wasn't. It was very much popularized by the Muppets, but a lot of people would have known it before then.
Brilliant. We'll have a bit of Mah Na Mah Nah before the end of the show. Now, this third choice, Joe, you've got to introduce it. You've done it so twice already. People might recognise this tune from the EasyJet adverts. I can't wait to hear this one.
Okay, well, the song is called Prisencolinensinainciusol, and because it's tricky to pronounce, the very first thing you hear is the singers performing it, just saying it out loud. The artist is the mighty Adriano Celentano. It was released in 1972. He is huge. He's still around. He's 88 years old, had a birthday on January 6th, so many happy returns to Adriano. And it's performed by him and his wife, Claudia Mori. It appeared on his album Nostal Rock in 1973. We'll talk a bit more about it as we've heard it, but what I would say to Five Live listeners is just spend some time and see if you can figure out what is being sung.
Prisencolinensinainciusol.
You the cold maids say one Prisencolinensinainciusol. All right.
The color boss dying. Chance and behind me, get a cold. Bevis is staying yet, Bill Joe. We don't stay in the shoes now, and whole building scene in a whole red maybe get the color boss dying. When it's the same range, you'll come be steen. You know, for someone, never judge the God, David's a shame. Not pain for not so hobble just getting out of cover no time. like the shoes of my man. You can trust in the man called the radio girls. Oh, Sunday.
Well, I'm trying to identify the bit that's on the EasyJet advert there. Is it that?
It's the bit at the beginning, isn't it?
What?
Yeah, the little trumpet bit.
Yeah, the trumpet bit.
Yeah.
What's the story, Joe, with that song then?
So it's not supposed to be a comedy song, actually. You know, we're all sort of having fun with it. That said, it wasn't intended to be to be fully serious either. So Celentano was famous and celebrated in Italy. He's absolutely huge over there. He sold 150 million records across his career, believe it or not. And he was known as a bit of a trickster, a bit playful. And that song, Prisencolinensinainciusol, I think I did that right. He's what it's supposed to be putting across is to represent what English sounds like in an American accent to people who don't speak English.
Right.
So it's basically what Elvis sounds like to people who don't know what any of the words
that's
are.
Interesting, isn't it?
So he's an Italian putting on an American English sort of Elvis accent, and he was often thought of as the Italian Elvis back in the 60s and 70s. And when you think about that track, you've got that chromatic brass stab, you know, bap, ba-da-dap, and those little riffs in between. They've got a bit of the 70s Elvis about them. I think, you know, I can hear a few
Now
of
you've
those
said that,
arrangements.
he puts a whole new light on it. We've actually, the team here have put some of the words through the 5 Live supercomputer, and so we've got a couple of little clips here. Have a listen. So this line, for example, we think he's saying, "You're becoming obtuse, no pain for not sure, hubba hubba, just kidding, on the cupboard of time." Let's see.
You the cover not choose no pain for not sure, hubba just getting on the cupboard of time.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, but
amazing.
Yeah, and this next one, we think says, "All we did was just stand, wipe the shoes of go-go men. You be costing about the cult of rainy girls."
All we did was just stand, like the shoes of my man. You can trust in the man called the radio girls.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, the 5 Live supercomputer is definitely earning whatever the electricity bill is over there.
Yeah, it's just a bloke on minimum wage spending 3 hours listening to that song. What?
I was going to say, what you're experiencing there is a real thing in music psychology. It's called auditory pareidolia. And it's the common harmless illusion. It's the musical equivalent of when you see a face in a cloud. And you look up in the sky and you think that looks like something, and it's called pareidolia. And auditory pareidolia is the common and usually harmless illusion where the brain perceives meaningful sounds like voices or music in random noise. And here we are, you know, we're hearing random sounds and adding them on. In psychology, the broader term is apophenia, which is the tendency to perceive a connection, because our brains are basically pattern recognition machines, and we make these connections between unrelated or random things. So when I heard you say those quotes translations of the song, it makes sense, because you'd planted the psychological idea in my mind that those absurd lyrics were real.
Yeah, and I tell you, you've really struck a chord with me, because that notion that is how an American singer, aka Elvis, would sound to someone who can't speak English. That is, you know, that's fascinating in its own way.
You wonder how he sold so many records. If that's how it sounds.
And you wonder the lyrics that people around the world were singing to his tunes if they couldn't
true.
speak English. Probably just exactly things
It's like
like
me
that.
trying to sing the Macarena.
Yeah. Well, I'll just use my handy guide here. Someone sent in to how to say that. Prisencolinensinainciusol. Is that near enough, Joe?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
That's that song. We'll move on now. So our listeners might be more used to this band. Let's have a listen to a bit of Talking Heads. What can you tell us about that song, Joe?
So that was Zimbra, not Zimbra as it's written, but Zimbra. And it was, believe it or not, a single from Talking Heads. It was from their third album, Fear of Music, which actually had a lot more palatable cover version on it. That was quite a big hit. They did a version of Take Me to the River. But this is Dadaism. And for those unfamiliar with the Dadaist movement, it's sort of rose during the 1910s, in Europe in the First World War as a reaction to the First World War, and it's the celebration of absurdity. So it was an international art movement developed around the sort of the middle of the Great War, around 1916, first established in Zurich. And I think a lot of people will be familiar with Marcel Duchamp's Fountain, the porcelain urinal presented as a work of art. That's perhaps the most famous Dadaist work of art. So Zimbra is based on a Dadaist poem written by poet Hugo Ball, and his poem was entitled Gadji Beri Bimba. And basically, I'll even have a go at the poem. Let's see if I can do this.
Here we go.
Gadji Beri Bimba Gladridi Laula Loni Kadori Gadjama Grama Barid. Doesn't matter if I don't pronounce it because none of it means anything. And that's kind of the point of Dadaism. You're supposed to be absurd. You're supposed to be ridiculous because you're rejecting order and authoritarianism. That was the idea behind the movement. Now, of course, being Talking Heads in 1979, they turned it into a great fun 2-chord jam. So they're playing, there's a kind of an F, and they're just basically grooving on F and then to a B flat, and the band's just creating a funky groove over David Byrne doing that sort of rhythmic interpretation of an edit of the poem.
So only Talking Heads could try and get away with that. Interestingly, I was just having a look on the internet. Zimbra, and absolute nonsense from start to finish, and there's a lot of nonsense in it because it goes on a while. Got to number 28 in the US. Hot dance
it's
charts.
the days. It gives you a lot of hope for pop music that, experimental art rock can become a major hit and people will buy the single. It doesn't all have to be, love song formula. You can be a bit experimental. At least you could in 79.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. 1977 was Psycho Killer, and then 2 years later they were there with Zimbra. Right, with 2 to go, let's talk about Heaven or Las Vegas. What can you tell us about Heaven or Las Vegas, Joe?
Okay, well, I could have picked almost any song by this artist. This is the Cocteau twins, and Elizabeth Fraser and Robin Guthrie, the main power behind them. And famously, Elizabeth Fraser would sing in these nonsense, made-up languages on most of their stuff. I loved them at the time in the 80s, late 80s. I really discovered them when I was in college. And the records, you just have to sort of let yourself go into the mix. It's very 80s. It's very thick and lush and beautiful. So I would say to people who may be hearing this song, Heaven or Las Vegas, for the first time, don't overthink it. Just go with it.
That's Cocteau Twins, Heaven or Las Vegas. It begs the question, Joe, while you tell us a little bit about that tune, and whether lyrics matter, because that was pretty much, we were in the moment. You're going along with it. You can't necessarily sing along with it, but you get the vibe.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's very much the point of the Cocteau Twins music, at least for me as a fan. Just absorbing the soundscape, letting it wash over you, and it's all about texture. A lot of their music, you'll notice that there wasn't. Everything was a little blurry, and quite deliberately so. There's a lot of reverb covering pretty much everything in the mix. Of course, I'm very fond of guitar bands of the 80s more generally, because I'm a guitar player. It's my first instrument, and the 80s was really when I was doing all my peak covers band learning, as most guitarists have a phase of doing that. So there's basically two riffs. Earlier on in the track, in the verse, you've got this D major 7 chord. Let's play this. So it's just picking across the chord, and then it goes to the G major 7 chord. And then that section we heard there after the bridge was just an ascending, a sort of da 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 da, something like this. And that's done the way I was doing it there was by cross picking the guitar, so that all the notes blur into each other. But of course, Robin Guthrie famously used that very sort of chiming sound, and used a lot of effects pedals and effects processing. There was a lexicon pitch shift and a Roland Dimension C chorus pedal on that track. And for the non-guitarists in the Five Live listeners, I'll just explain that with sound. So here's the verse riff on a regular guitar sound, just through an amp with a bit of reverb. Sounds like this. And then maybe vibrato it a bit, and then to the other chord. But then if I press this button on my chorus pedal, then we get the full experience of the 80s guitar sound that puts you right back there sonically. Isn't that the sound of the 80s?
Yeah, absolutely. And on that as well, what did you call it? Glossolalia?
Glossolalia, correct, yeah.
There'll be plenty of, you never know who's listening to this show, and there'll be plenty of professional musicians knocking about, travelling up and down the country after gigs and one thing and another. And you read accounts of when classic songs come together, and often, Joe, in the studio, they sing nonsense lyrics as they're trying to get their head round the tune and trying to, if the tune has come first, they will sing nonsense along, won't they? And then they'll recreate the lyrics to fit the tune. But maybe many songs have started with a bit of glossolalia along the way.
No, completely. It's really common. And in fact, that was my area of academic study. I did my PhD in how songwriters write songs together. And I studied like 40 different songwriting teams for their method. One of the artists I studied from the sort of back catalogue was the Bee Gees. And they were famous for it. They would start with chords. They would sit round in a circle. They would start with chords and be just sort of singing whatever came to them melodically, and then they would retrofit the lyrics. And it's the most famous question for decades when journalists interview songwriters, which comes first, music or lyrics? And there are very cynical answers to it, like the phone call, the paycheck.
Yeah.
But you've got to make a decision, because at the start of a co-writing session, no song exists. And then by the end of that session, the song exists. So you have to decide what order you're going to add the bits. I think a lot of guitar and keyboard players and maybe digital audio workstation people, they like to sort of lay down some kind of backing and sing over that. But there's footage, you'll find it on YouTube, of the Bee Gees co-writing together, the three of them, in the late 70s. And they are indeed, as you say, Tony, they're making up glossolalia, and it still sounds like the Bee Gees, but the words don't mean anything.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear that. Your next song, funny enough, has got its own language. Let's have a listen to this. Earlier on we heard that song where it said it's what American lyrics sound like to someone who can't speak English. That, to me, sounds like some sort of Nordic song. I would have no idea if that was nonsense, Joe. Who is that? What is that?
Well, you're not wrong, actually. And a lot of their songs are sung in their native Icelandic. That was Sigur Ros, and the band name. They are indeed from Iceland, and the band name translates as Victory Rose. And the core members is John Paul Birgisson, known as Jonsi, and he takes those very high male lead vocals and also plays the guitar parts, but the guitars are often bowed. That is, you use a violin bow on the guitar to create these textures. And they're sort of known for these slow tempos, long form structures, high falsetto vocals, not dissimilar from the Cocteau twins, and actually only a few years after them. They were formed in 94. So you have these sort of very spacey, reverberant textures, and a lot of the songs you kind of have to give them a long time because there's a long dynamic build in the mix. But to the actual nonsense words, to the glossolalia there. So that song is entitled Fon, and or Von, and the word is Icelandic for the word hope, and it's the first example in their repertoire of their made-up language, which they call Fonleska, which translates into English as Hopelandic, so it's the language of hope, and it's a term coined by the band to refer to Jonsi's vocalizations that he sings in lieu of Icelandic lyrics. Not all of the band's songs are in Fonleska. Many are actually sung in Icelandic and very occasionally English, but their particular use of Fonleska, there you can hear that the language, it almost doesn't even sound like a made-up language. That is, it doesn't have sort of consonants that make sense. It's very, very vowel-heavy, and it sort of fits their sort of long, drawn-out, reverberant music. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to love in Sigur Ros. I mean, some people in the 90s, I remember, would put it on as wallpaper, and that would always annoy me because I wanted to, put their headphones on and absorb the mix, but it's very immersive music that they make.
Fred's texted to say I'm getting a bit of Enya vibes there listening to that. It's been a really interesting journey, Joe. As ever, you've made me think a lot about songs that I just thought I was familiar with and I'd listened to a million times, and I've really enjoyed it. If we've got time, I'm going to either end the show tonight with Mah Na Mah Nah. People are still saying it's Animal, you Muppets. It's not. It's Mah Na Mah Nah, Joe, isn't it? Mah Na Mah Nah.
Yeah, well, certainly the version that I reviewed is Mah Na Mah Nah, seen it. Yeah.
And I'm going to end with that or the Ying Tong song later on, depending on what comes first. So we'll sort that out a little bit later on. Right, it's time to recap the quiz now, Joe. So what are you going to do? Are you going to play you're just going to play the backwards versions, aren't we? Because we're not.
Yeah, I'll play the backwards version
okay.
In each case, and listen out really carefully, because the nonsense word is the title, and the bit that I'm going to play you contains the title. So if you can make head or tail of what is being sung, and I think that will be very easy for the first one, you will be able to figure out the title. Just go over and over it in your head and try and sing it backwards in your head. So 1 point for the artist, 1 point for the song, total of 12 points, 6 questions. The first song, number 1, is from 1964. Number 2, you will recognise the vocalist almost certainly, a very famous British vocalist, solo artist for many years, still around, and this song came out in 1974. Can't wait to play that one forwards. It's a great track. For number 3, we're now in the 90s. This song is a band, and they came out with this. This was their big breakthrough hit in 97. For number 4, this was technically a duo. I suppose they came out with this pop hip hop crossover track in 2006. For number 5, this is an artist who is geographically a long way from the UK, and this song came out in 2016. And finally, number 6, this techno banger came out in 2018. So there we have it.
Yeah. Well, I got the first one. Beth, and you thought you had 2, did you?
Yeah, now I haven't got 3. I've got an artist.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't got the name of the song.
Well, you've got another, I would say you got 5 minutes to get your answers in. What are the numbers, Beth Ann, if people want to have a go?
Yeah, you can WhatsApp us 08085 909 693 or text 85058.
Okay, we'll give you the answers very shortly. Right, as always in this hour as well, if you're new to it, Joe gives us a Soundslike where we investigate songs that sound a bit similar, not necessarily suspiciously. But where are we going tonight with this, Joe?
So this is a song in Spanglish. Spanish-English mashup. It's neither one thing nor t'other, but also both. People who've been to Spain will maybe have attempted to speak Spanglish and certainly would have heard it. And it is a wonderful song. I'm really fond of this lyric because it is a pop music meta reference to a track which is itself a pop music meta reference. So the song is called Aserejé, the Ketchup song, and I'm going to play you quite a bit of it. I'm going to play you the first 53 seconds, right. And listen out. You might, if you speak Spanish or you've got like me a little bit of Duolingo smattering, you might get the meaning of the verse, and then listen particularly carefully to the chorus, which starts with the title Aserejé.
Mira lo que se avecina a la vuelta de la esquina, viene Diego rumbeando, con la luna en las pupilas y en su traje agua marina van restos de contrabando, y donde más no cabe un alma allí se mete a darse caña poseído por el ritmo ragatanga, y el DJ que lo conoce toca el himno de las 12 para Diego, la canción más deseada, y la baila, y la goza, y la canta, y ahí se
Ketchup song. Bethan was doing the actions there. Was that?
Yeah, because there's a dance.
Yeah, the Ketchup
Oh, there's
dance.
a dance. Their big style is a dance.
It seems to me, from memory, I mean, I'm trying to think when my kids, probably just before that, around that time, there seemed to be a song every year that came from Europe when you were on holiday.
Yeah, do you know the dance?
No.
Would you like
No, I'm not
to learn?
trying it. They're all shouting, try it in my ears. No. What? Joe will do it. You know it, Joe. Do you know the dance?
I've seen the video.
Yeah, that'll do.
Let's just imagine that on the radio.
It's mainly, it's looked a bit like people doing the mashed potato, mainly hand movements.
A little bit. It is hand movements. Yeah.
So that's the Ketchup song then, Joe. Where are we going with that one?
Right. So the famous, the famous chorus goes. I'll try and say it out here. The lyric goes: Aserejé, ya. Dechebi to Dechebi, Resebi, Unova, Machavi, and a Boogie and a Boodidipi. I think I said that right. Yeah. That's the chorus. But in order to understand the significance of it, you have to work with the translation of the verse. So I'm going to read out the English translation of the verse, which is pretty much in Spanish, sort of pidgin Spanish. Verse 1, look what's coming round the corner. Just around the corner, Diego comes dancing the rumba with the moon in his eyes, and on his aquamarine suit are some leftovers of the contraband. And when there's no more room for anyone, he gets in there to give himself a good time, possessed by the ragatanga rhythm, and the DJ who knows it plays the 12 o'clock song. For Diego, it's his favorite song, and he dances to it, he enjoys it, and he sings it. So you've got this drunk guy on the beach in the story, this guy called Diego, who really wants to dance to what the DJ is playing. And he wants the DJ to play his favorite song. And so he asks for the song, and he said, the song I want you to play is that one that goes, Aserejé. And so you've got to imagine drunk Spanish guy on the beach. Aserejé. Yeah, the hey, the heavy, the heavy, the heavy, the no, the heavy, and the boogie, and the boogie. So he's saying this sort of nonsense, these nonsense words, and you can Google the lyrics, they are written down. What Diego is trying to remember is Rapper's Delight by the Sugarhill Gang, which sounds like this.
I said a hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop, you don't stop the rocker to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see?
So when you know that, you can then insert Rapper's Delight to. So I said a hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop, and you don't stop the rocking to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogity beat.
Blimey. I'll have a pint of what you've had tonight, Joe. So what was the upshot of all this?
Well, it's just, like I say, it's a sort of a pop music meta reference. So it's a song about a made-up character who's trying to remember his favorite song. And of course, it's also a language joke. But, the story doesn't end there in our Soundslike, because Rapper's Delight itself uses Chic's Good Times as a sample. So there's me playing it slow.
Yeah.
In fact, let's bring it up to full speed. So we do it. Aserejé, ha, the heavy to the heavy, you know, machavi, and a boogity beat. Can't really do it.
We get where you've been with that one.
It sort of works. So I'm just really fond of it, because it's very difficult to write a song about a song, not least for copyright reasons. There was no issues with copyright. It's just like mentioning the title, and it's got a very different melody. But it's just really fun. It was a great record. 2002. It was a big hit. And if you look up Last Ketchup which is the name of the artist, on your favorite streaming service, you will find almost exclusively just different remixes of that one song.
Wow. Joe, you never fail to surprise me, honestly. That was great. Thank you very much for that. Shall we end with the quiz?
I think so. It's time to reveal. Hope we've got a lot of text coming in.
Yeah, well, we have. I think Neil's got them all right as usual. So do you want to fire away, Joe, with the answers?
Let's do it. Here are the answers. So, question 1, the song came out in 1964. Some listeners have already texted in and requested this song. It will surprise no one that it was Julie Andrews with the mighty Dick Van Dyke, and it was this song.
Oh, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious, you can say it loud.
Number 2, the song was 1974. I think a lot of people will have got the artist, because the unmistakable Elton John vocal, even backwards, there's nothing quite like his tone. It's a lesser-known song. It's called Sola Prestige a Gamon, and it's entirely nonsense lyrics. Great track. Sounds like this.
Sola Prestige a Gamon.
For number 3, from 1997, I think a lot of people might have got this from The Mix. It was the Brothers. The band was called Hanson. A lot of people will remember them. And this is their breakthrough hit, their biggest hit ever. It's called Bop. Number 4, from 2006, the duo were Fergie and will.i.am, the song Fergalicious.
So delicious. It's hot, so delicious. I put them boys on rock, so delicious.
So from 2016, for number 5, the person a long way away from the UK is K-pop artist Blackpink and the song Boombaya.
Boombaya. Yeah, Boombaya.
And finally, for number 6, the artist Little Big and the frankly insane lyric Skibbity.
Skibbity wop pop pop. Skibbity wop pop pop pop. Skibbity wop pop 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 pop.
Hey, we've had the most reaction behind the glass to any songs with the Ketchup song and Skibbity. I thought you were going to sing Skibbity there for us, Joe. Listen, I've really enjoyed it, Joe. Quality stuff as always. Thank you very much.
Really fun. So how do people do?
Oh, yeah, of course. Blimey, the whole point. Well, it's Neil in Chester's got... I mean, people have had a go. Fred says, something by John Lennon, Alan Hansen with Bop.
Was that not right?
Oh, not Alan Hansen, though, was it? Alan Hansen's the manager. Hansen. Anyway, to cut a long story short, Neil in Chester's got the lot of them.
Neil.
Yeah, he's good. He gets them every week, does Neil?
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Joe. I will speak.
Thanks a lot.
Speak
Really
to you
fun. Talk to you next week.
Speak to you next Tuesday. Goodbye.
Bye.
There we are, Professor Joe Bennett. Right, I said I'd end with the Muppets or the Ying Tong song. I'm going to go for the Ying Tong song, mainly because it's longer. I've got a bit longer to fill than I thought we would have. So here are the Goons with the Ying Tong song. Sing along, everybody, and we'll see. Are you in tomorrow, Bethan?
I am, yeah.
Are you in here tomorrow?
I'm not.
Okay. Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
You'll see me.
No one else will. Right, lots of love, everyone. See you tomorrow at 10:30. Here's the Goons and the Ying Tong song.
There's a song that I recall my mother sang to me. She sang it as she tucked me in when I was 93.
Who was that bum?
Ying tong, 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 ying tong,
In a light pole. Keep that up. Keep up.
keep up,
Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole land.
ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole,
In a light pole.
ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole.
Oh,
Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole, in a light pole.
hear the crazy rhythm, driving me insane. Strike your partner on the bump. Oh, I felt no pain.
Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying.